Hello and welcome to The Grind, everybody. It's your host, Marc. So on today's episode, we're going to have an update on Amina. And I don't want to ruin the magic for everybody, but here at The Grind, we don't actually record, edit, and produce a brand spanking new episode every week. I don't know how Michael Barbaro and The Daily cranks that out, but it's actually really hard. So what that means is, the last time you heard from Amina, that was actually 4 months ago, and a lot has changed in the interim. So today we're going to have an update on her summer research job, how she did on the MCAT, and we're going to ask her if she's still 100% sure she wants to be a doctor. But before we do any of that, I just want to pause here and talk to you guys a bit about how we make The Grind, because I realize I really haven't done that yet. Now, you mostly hear Warren and I's voice, but there are a whole team of people behind The Grind. So I just want to thank them for a second. So first I want to thank our production team. That's Taylor and Alex. So Taylor and Alex, you're going to hear from them later in the season. They're actually still students at the UW, and they've been doing a tremendous job for us. So next on marketing, I want to thank Flora. She's a student at the UW, my good friend Tran, and Ellie. We also want to thank our sponsor, the 74million.org, and our partner, the Washington State Opportunity Scholarship. And finally, I want to thank you guys. First of all, I want to thank everyone who contributed to our Kickstarter campaign. I am looking at t-shirts, stickers, and buttons from The Grind. I promise they're in the mail soon. You're going to love your gear. I also want to thank everybody who has been writing us emails, liking our posts on Facebook, and sending good vibes our way. You don't know how much that means to us and how much it keeps us going. And finally, if you're looking for other ways to help, share our show with someone who you think would be interested. Subscribe to our newsletter, rate us on iTunes, and like our social media. Okay, that's it. I promise. Here's our update with Amina.
Hi.
What's up?
Not much. I just came back from work to come in and catch up with you.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Of course.
When we first talked, I think I had no idea what all this was going to become. Not that it's anything like remarkable yet.
Right.
But since then, we spent so much time taking your interviews and interviews with other folks and turning them into this first season of The Grind.
Right.
And so your episodes kind of leave off right when you are starting your job that
Right.
you're currently at now.
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's been, I guess, by 6 months since we first talked
Yeah.
and 3 months since we last talked, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So can you give us like an update? I mean, how's the summer been?
Right.
How's your job going?
Yeah. So June 11th, I've officially graduated from the University of Washington.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Thanks. Got my public health degree out of it. 2 weeks after my graduation, I started to prep for the MCAT. So I registered for it to take it on September 2nd. So that gave me about 3 months of prepping, studying. I did a Kaplan course and to help prepare and give me like a structure throughout the months of preparing.
All right. So you basically started studying end of school.
Yep.
All right.
End of school. Yep.
And you took the test in September.
I took the test.
So how did you feel when you took the test?
The test is super long. It's about 7 hours long.
Yeah.
It has 4 different sections. And so I told all my friends and everyone after I was done, it was the longest and fastest test I've ever taken. Like, it happened so quickly.
Really?
That I couldn't like process each step of the way. You get 10 minutes breaks in between sections. So you kind of like, you don't have time to process each section. Going into the test, I think it was like a mental marathon. So you have to be in the zone throughout the test. You can't, because every second counts.
Yeah.
And if you kind of zone out, or if you're exhausted mentally, then you lose time.
Sure.
And that's question. I was definitely stressed out the day of.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. What was the feeling right when you get there?
Everything is very formal. There's a security check, and we were
Okay.
in little cubicles,
Gotcha.
so you couldn't really see them. So I was definitely nervous because it was very formal and it felt very real. Like,
Yeah.
this test is going to determine whether or not I get into med school, basically.
Right. Which is something, just to remind our listeners,
Yes.
been like front and center on your mind for the last couple of years.
Yes.
Big goal.
Yes. Huge.
Okay.
More like 4 years. Yes.
4 years, yeah.
Yes.
You said it went by fast, but like, how were you feeling as you were going through the test?
So the first section was, I thought towards the end of it went horrible. Like, it was the chemistry and physics section. And it was, all the questions were based on all the chapters that I struggled with. And so it wasn't a reflection of like the practice exams that I was taking. So I thought it was a disaster. Then after that, so I got a 10-minute break, and that's when I was like, okay, Amina, you got to get it together. You got 3 more sections to go. Just do your best. You've studied. So I kind of like
Talk yourself up.
Exactly. And so then the second section was the reading section, and I thought I did really well because that was my strongest suit during my practice exams. And so that went by really well. And then I got a 30-minute break. And then the third section was the bio and biochemistry, and I thought I did well on that. And then finally was the psych and soc section. And I also thought that was the easiest section of the MCAT, so I thought I did strongly in that.
Okay, so you leave the test feeling like first section didn't go great, but you kind of made a comeback, and the last 3 were strong.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So when do you find out your results?
I found out this past Monday.
Okay, so you waited all of September.
Yes, so it's a month before they release the scores.
Were you able to then say, like, I can't control it, it's out of my mind, or were you like nervous the whole way through?
The ups and downs. So
Okay.
I would go into, you know what, it's out of my hands. I did the best that I could. I studied my ass off, and this is it. And then I would have moments where I would actually, whether it's looking at different med schools or like kind of preparing the next steps of the application cycle of, looking at the stats on the MCAT scores that they accept.
So you're like, okay, I have to be in this range to get in here.
And then I would freak out.
Okay.
And I would just call up, like, I would call my brother or like my friends and be like, hey, I'm freaking out. And then they would have to calm me down a little bit.
Right.
And go back to, it's out of my hands. It was just
Okay.
But mostly it was out of my hands and I couldn't do anything about it. And that's that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Can you take the MCAT again?
Yes. I can take
People take it again.
Yes.
People take it multiple times.
Yes.
Okay. So you knew that, like, look, if it doesn't totally work out,
Yes.
I could always take it again.
Yes.
Okay.
I had a plan A and a plan B.
Okay.
And my goal is to apply next June.
Yes.
That's when the application cycle is open. So if I didn't do well,
Wait, hold on.
yes,
June 2018.
right.
Okay.
That's-
So that's this June, right?
That's this coming June.
All right. So you
Yeah.
got the score Monday.
I got the score Monday.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to take the test.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take the test. So the way it's set up is, I had to be at 500 at least. That's the average score to be in the good range of getting into med school, like the acceptable range. I was at 494.
So close.
So painfully close. So painfully close.
And did they break down the score by sections?
Yes. So
Was it basically what you thought?
no, guess what?
What?
I did the strongest on the Chem Phys.
Which is the part you thought you did the worst on?
And the lowest score was the psych and soc section.
What happened?
I think part of me was that I thought the psych soc was the easiest out of the test, so I didn't really study for it as much, and I didn't really do. I think I did like a total of 3 practice exams for that section because I thought like I got this.
Yeah.
I don't have to focus on it as much, and dedicated a lot of my time on the Chem Phys. So I think that it was a really hard section, and I scored higher than the average. I think that's what happened.
Did you do better in your practice tests?
Yes.
That's
and that
disappointing.
kind of I was extremely disappointed because they always tell you that the practice exams are harder than the actual test.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
That sucks.
It really sucked. It really, really sucked. Yeah.
Not that it makes you feel better, but I took the SAT twice. I took the GMAT twice.
Yeah.
You know.
It happens.
It happens, yeah.
Okay. I refuse to think about the what ifs and what I could have done and better, and to just kind of like move forward with it. Yeah.
So then what does that mean?
That means that I found a study partner, my really good friend who's planning on taking it next year. So I'm probably going to take it again either February or March. And this time I have plenty of time to prepare and I'm kind of familiar with the test.
Yeah.
And so my goal is to be in the 99th percentile for the test. If I'm going to take it the second time, I'm like...
And what percentile were you in this time?
52.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 99th. Good.
Yeah.
That's
so,
a good goal.
Yeah. I think it's achievable.
Yeah.
I think I don't have an excuse at this point because I've been through it once.
Yeah.
And so the pain of not doing so well is kind of my motivation right now.
Yeah. I feel you. So how did it feel? A lot of people knew you were taking the MCAT, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did it feel to like tell them that you're going to have to take it again?
Personally, I don't really care how people view me in general. So I think I told a lot of people that I was taking the test because I didn't care whether or not it was a good or a bad outcome because that's what happens in life. Like, you know, you fail and you have to like get back up.
Yeah.
So it felt good. Like I got a good support system. I got a lot of good like words of encouragement. Like, hey, you're not completely like you're not stupid, and this is not really going to determine your future as a doctor, right? And I talked to a lot of my like physician mentors, and they told me the same thing. A lot of them took it 2-3 times. Yeah. So it happens. So that made me feel better, and I think this time around. I think that if more people, at least like my friends told me that they took a test like this or they did something and they failed at it, I would use it as a learning lesson. And so I'm okay telling people.
I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, one of the episodes that we're working on right now is about how lonely it can feel to be in the job search process when all you ever seem to hear about is great things happening for other people.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, people don't typically post on Facebook when they get rejected from jobs.
Right.
They post, hey, I got the job at Facebook. I'm moving to San Francisco. Like, woo. In reality, all of us have to deal with failure in the job process. You know, we just don't talk about it really.
Exactly.
And so people can feel very isolated when they feel like they're going through a tough time because it can appear like I'm the only person who's ever felt this way, right?
Exactly. No, that's so true.
All right. So then one of the things that caught a bunch of people's attention when we first talked was how dead certain you were that you were going to go to med school.
Right.
You were 100% certain, zero chance.
Yes.
Do you still feel the same way?
Absolutely.
All
Yeah.
right.
More than ever. I had my doubts this summer while I was studying for the MCAT.
Why?
So this is not the only hurdle that I have to get past as in my future in medicine. There are board exams that I have to take for the rest of my life, and it's going to look like this, even worse. So I just had my doubts about like if it's worth it, and I hate test taking, like especially when it's multiple choice. It is my nightmare. So I was thinking, how many times do I have to do this, like get through this process, and if it's worth it. So I was actually talking to physician assistants. I was talking to chiropractors, like just different fields in medicine.
They
just
didn't require the same kind of tests.
Exactly. And a good friend of mine actually had a back injury, and he reached out to me to help him like get through his appointments and stuff like that. And just experiencing the medical system by side and talking to all these physicians. And I think obviously the medical system is really failing us as patients. And I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to be part of that process. But then I talked to one of my really good mentors, and he explained it to me that like it's not all good. You know, the pre-med journey, it's mostly they highlight the good parts of, you know, being a doctor, helping people and, you know, being there for them and that sort of thing. But it's not always, you know, cupcakes and rainbows. Like you have to deal with politics, you have to deal with insurances. And I think since he works at CMAR clinic, which is a clinic that helps underserved populations, like his job is more rewarding because he speaks Spanish and he speaks English and he can relate to many of his patients. He feels as though he's actually helping rather than like just passing them through.
So was he trying to discourage you from when he said it's not all good? Was he trying to?
I think he was just being honest.
Yeah.
He was just being honest because he wants me to know what I'm getting myself into, because this is, you know, a life of just long-term loans, a life of putting everyone in second place and prioritizing this. So to know exactly what I'm getting myself into is an important job of being a mentor.
Yeah.
So I think he was disclosing the ugly, but also making it seem like it's worth it at the same time.
Okay, so then you had this kind of journey this summer, sort of reckoning with the fact that as rewarding as medicine can be,
right,
it's demanding as all hell,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So then tell us where you are now on this. You're still 100%. So what changed?
Prior to having that conversation and having those worries, it was mostly like, yes, I'm gonna do this to help people and help save lives, and you know, there aren't many people that look like me, an African American woman, in these fields, and so that was my biggest reasoning to push myself to do this. But again, like I was thinking of, you know, am I going to be happy in the long term? Am I just doing this for others and rather than myself? And so having to shadow him more and to just have that conversation with him just made it seem like I'm trilingual. I speak Somali. I have a view of certain things, especially when it comes to my community and their perception of medicine. And I can be that voice and I can help them better, I think, if I'm in this system. So it would be rewarding for me in the long term if I have goals that are just not, you know, just get that 9 to 5. If I want this journey to be more rewarding, I would have to actually be more proactive in terms of helping the Somali community, helping in ways that I can.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So then when it comes down to it, I mean, are you kind of coming to grips with this fact that like this might not always be like the happiest job for you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think after all the planning, all the studying and all the prioritizing, I think there is a chance that I won't be happy.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
Yeah.
It's frightening, but I think that it's also okay.
I'm probably the wrong person to talk to about this, but I believe very strongly that we were all put on this earth for something that's far deeper than happiness.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. Ideally, you want to be happy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying we give up on happiness.
Right.
But at least the way you're describing kind of what you can bring to your communities, and I think some very legit points about the fact that there aren't people who look like you who are doctors. Mm-hmm. That's important. I mean,
yeah.
you had come to a similar conclusion, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's where I'm at right now mentally. Yeah. And I think what's hard is that, so I think it's, as a pre-med, you are going through the med school applications and they all want you to be very, very sure, right? Because there are thousands of people applying.
They're investing time in you.
Yeah. Exactly. And you can't have those doubts while going through that application and those interviews. And I think that is I think it's problematic because it doesn't make you feel like a human at the end of it. We do look at doctors, I think, as a society as these like really cool beings who help us out and are very smart. But I think at the end of the day, they're human and they are allowed to have those doubts.
Yeah, most people don't want to look at doctors as human.
Exactly.
It's not comforting because you understand how frail and fragile humans are.
Right.
And fallible.
Yeah. That's true.
And you don't want your doctor to be like that.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not saying that's fair.
But it's true. I think this part will prepare me to craft a better application.
Yeah.
For June, because then like I want them to know what kind of student is coming into their med school.
Yeah.
And my thought process, because I don't want to be this perfect, super neat student who has, obviously I'm not gonna have like perfect MCAT scores, but like good grades.
You might.
Yeah, hopefully the second time around. And I don't know, I just want to know that I will be prepared when I set my mind to go into the specific med school, that at the end of it, I'm 100% committed to this, and I'm aware of like everything that surrounds being a physician. So we'll see.
How do you feel?
I feel good right now. I feel good. Monday, no, not so much. But right now, I feel.
It's Thursday for the record. It's only been a few days.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So I feel better. I feel prepared, and I think I'll do better next time around the MCAT, and I'll be okay.
So then, how has the lab job been?
Oh, great. So far so good. So I think it was starting 2 weeks ago that I've actually started working full time.
Mm-hmm.
After taking the MCAT, I took 2 weeks off. So I just relaxed, hung out with friends. And then now it's like very much the real world. So I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, go to gym.
4:30?
Yeah, let's go to the gym. And then
you can go to the gym at 6:30.
It gets crowded at that time. I like it when it's like quiet and nice.
Oh, okay.
and then go to work.
At like 5:30,
at like 7.
Okay.
And then and leave at like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And then after that, either meet up with some friends or just go home and relax and start again the next day.
Where are you living?
I live in Burien. So
do you live by yourself?
No, I live with my family.
Okay, so you're still living with your Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So we're very happy. Right now it's just good times. My mom wasn't very happy Monday, but like, it was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard for her.
So tell me more about that.
So the way it happened, I didn't want to look at it. I was freaking out. And then I called my brother. He's the first person I call when I'm going through it, when I'm having a moment. So then I told him, hey, man, I think I can just wait one more month to find out. It's okay. It's not that, no rush. And then he's like, just look at it. So
well, you weren't going to open it for like a month?
I mean, that's where I was mentally. I was so scared. I wish the results came out as soon as I took the test.
Rip the Band-Aid off. Yeah.
Yeah. But so I was on the phone with him. I opened up the laptop, looked at the results, told him the news. And then the first thing that came to mind was my mom. She was praying so hard. She was so worried about this test. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to be so disappointed. And so then she comes home a couple hours later and she's like, you know what? It's okay. You'll take it again, right? It's not a pass and fail. But I can see in her face, like she was disappointed.
Yeah.
But then, and then she actually called up her, primary care physician and told him the news, and he's like, oh, don't worry about it, I took the test like 3 times, she'll be fine. My niece took it 4 times and she needed that validation.
I love that your mom called her doctor.
Did you call him for something else? Did you call him? She's like, no, I just called him to ask.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. So then that's what happened, and now she's fine. She's come to terms that I can take it again, and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it was hard telling her.
Yeah.
That was the most difficult part about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for you, what was the first emotion you felt?
Relief.
Relief
that I now know what to do, whether to stick to plan A or plan B. So I was like, okay, this was so when I was talking to my brother, I was like, okay, 494. And he was like, I was like, okay, so I guess I have to take it either February or March. Like,
you immediately
my mind into that zone.
That's super interesting. It's kind of like the thing that was maybe bugging you was the uncertainty of it all.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was.
That makes sense. given
My history.
what we know about you and planning.
Yep. And then, yeah.
And once you knew,
yeah.
you immediately could go, okay,
Now I can be sad. Like, now I know to take it.
activate the plan, and
Exactly.
now I can be
Like,
sad.
go through
Okay.
my emotions right now. So,
All right, last question.
yes.
So one of the funniest things I think about your episodes was this concept of your like priority list.
Yeah.
What's the current priority, or how does the list look right now?
So I haven't created a list. So the most recent list that I have is from the MCAT studying this past summer. So I haven't created one because I don't even know what to prioritize now that I don't have like class. Most of what is on my list was school related, like clubs that I was part of or like courses.
Is it even a useful thing anymore for you?
For now, I don't think so. I don't have anything that I have to like kind of prioritize. I can kind of do what I want to do. I have this job that I have to like, that's just that's completely set in stone for now. If I were to write, I don't feel like I need to rush to write one right now. And I guess that's because I don't have much to prioritize. It feels good.
Okay,
It feels really
that's good.
good.
I was worried that felt a little sad, but
No, it feels good.
It feels good.
Yeah, I
to
feel
just
free.
kind of be.
Nice. Really nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to learn. All right, that's our episode for today. We want to thank PG Boom Music and Trackman Productions. Thank you all as always. We're actually taking a week off, so we'll be back in 2 weeks, but we're introducing a brand new voice. We'll see you then. Grind on, everybody.